and get ready to save more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
The KFH Studios, powered by Devon James Injury Lawyers. Call 888-8888.
That's 888-8888.
From the Accident Recovery Team Traffic Center, don't worry about me, I called ART.
Traffic.
We have a traffic accident just northwest of Mays on K96. It's on K96 at 119th Street West. Watch for a slowdown there. Traffic update from 98.7 and 1330 KNSS. In the Accident Recovery Team Traffic Center, I'm Jad Chambers.
Weather.
Becoming mostly sunny, breezy, and hot today. South winds 15 to 25 and gusty. High 96. Heat index, though, up to 102. Could see a stray shower or storm tonight. Otherwise, mostly cloudy. Overnight low 75. 93 on Friday with breezy conditions and likely storms during the afternoon or evening. Some of those could be severe. Mostly cloudy and much cooler on Saturday. That's your forecast from Storm Team 12. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn.
Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH Wichita, KNSS HD2 Clearwater, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Hey Wichita, it's Jacob Albrock. Stay right there for the latest breaking in sports talk. It's Sports Daily coming up next exclusively on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
I'm Patrick Claybon with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. The reigning NFC South champion Buccaneers may start the season without two-time first-team All-Pro left tackle Tristan Wirfs, according to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. Wirfs underwent arthroscopic knee surgery on Tuesday. He initially injured that knee in Week 10 last season against the 49ers, only missed one game, but re-aggravated the injury during work this offseason. If Wirfs were to be placed on the physically unable to perform list, he would miss the first 4 games of the season. The Washington Commanders unveiled alternate uniforms drawing inspiration from the ones that Washington wore during all 3 of the franchise's Super Bowl wins in 1982, 1987, and 1991. The uniforms make their debut Week 9 on Sunday Night Football against the Seahawks. They will also wear them Week 13 against the Broncos and on Christmas Day in Week 17 against the Dallas Cowboys. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
Well, hey there. Welcome in, everybody. It is Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor here with you on a Thursday. Glad to be here with you. We've got a fun show coming up. If you're a Royals fan, you're living large right now in the world of sports because the Royals are getting hot, as we have been waiting for the better part of a month and a half. Here we go. They finished the sweep of the Pirates. We'll get into that. We've got all kinds of good stuff coming for you today. Tim Fitzgerald, our K-State Insider, is going to join the program. We've got a giveaway of some Wind Surge tickets. We've got a giveaway of some HTO, and we'll dig into one of the hot topics nationally that certainly will have interest here with expansion of the NCAA tournament out on the table. It's all what's on tap for you, brought to you by Wichita Brewing Company, locations east, west, and historic Delano, featuring a rooftop deck. Wichita Brewing Company, it's pizza and beer made here. Tommy, good morning. How are you?
What's up? How's your Thursday going so far?
It's good. I went to a concert last night, so I'm a little sleepy. Dylan Gossett played at the Wave. Well, he was supposed to play at the Wave. He played at the Cotillion. I got moved out there. The opening band, the Cruz Brothers, who I'd never heard before, were really, really good. It was a good show. Just me and the wife, just a laid back evening, nothing crazy, but it keeps you up a little later than you're used to when you're waking up for morning radio here.
Look at you two kids going out on a Wednesday night. How about that?
Now listen, it's sometimes you gotta. Yeah, no, it was fun. We're music people. We love going to live shows. It's been a while since just the two of us went to a live show. Now that you say that out loud and I think about it, it's been a minute. So that was nice. Yeah, no, everything's good. Everything's good. Catch up on the Royals when we got back home. Boy, I tell you, love to see it. You can chime in 869-1240. You can also leave us comments on our video stream, which is available to you always on 12 News Connected, Facebook, YouTube, X. You can reach out to us directly on X. We can find you there, or we can find you in the podcast. If you're listening on the Odyssey app, you can actually just hit the microphone button and leave us voice messages that way. Or if you're now listening to us on the iHeartRadio app, we appreciate that as well. Tommy, the Royals are doing what we hoped they would do for a long time now. They're hot. 6-7. They go an entire season, essentially, without hitting multiple home runs at Kauffman Stadium, and then they come up against a team that can pitch, and they do it in all three games. They're finding their power a little bit. Certainly that's going to make a difference for a team like this. So it's, the power that they're finding is sustainable. It's Salvador Perez. It's Jack Caglione. Like this is power that's going to be there at some point. So look, I think if you're a Royals fan, you should be appropriately excited. This has been exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, really trying to not overreact, not go too far down the road of like, hey, look, like they're back and we're talking about a postseason team and all of that. But it's not just in the fact that they're winning 6 of 7 or the fact that they've swept the Pirates. It's the way in which they've done it. They've gotten away from what had plagued them for so long. Now we'll see if it's long-term sustainable, but the fact that they're winning at home now, which they hadn't for quite a long time, the fact that they're delivering power from the guys that need to deliver power, and the fact that, they've been clutch late in games, those are all things that we've pointed out over the last couple of months as things that were really holding the Royals back. And the fact that they've been able to do it in the last week or so, 6 of 7, sweeping the Pirates. Now you've got one more series before the All-Star break. They could go into the All-Star break feeling pretty good about their prospects for the postseason. It's going to be more of a challenge this weekend. They're playing the Mets, but the fact that, right now they stand where they are, you got to feel pretty good about, considering things were pretty down for quite a while.
Yeah, it's always been a timing thing. It was hard to imagine, and we've said this before, we've talked about it a lot. Like, it was hard to imagine them not getting hot at some point. It's always been a question of timing. When will they do it, and is it going to be enough? We still don't know if it's going to be enough because they had a pretty steep hole to dig out of. But the reality is this team, again, on paper, is, to me, one of the better rosters in the league. So, yeah, you get them playing well, and who knows what happens here. When they're playing well, you like them on paper against anybody. So this Mets series becomes fascinating. They finally get a day off, which will be really good for the bullpen, who was good last night. But Ursic and Estevez have been used very heavily lately. Chris Bubich was not his sharpest last night. 8 base runners in 5 2/3, 3 runs allowed, but it was enough. And the bullpen bailed him out, and the offense bailed him out. And there have been too many times this year where that hadn't happened for the starting pitchers, who have bailed out the offense far more often. So that was also good to see in a game where that guy that can't give you his best stuff, and I hope he's okay after getting hit on the foot there. That series is exactly what the doctor ordered. A lot of home runs, a lot of wins.
It's a palate cleanser, and it's what I was worried going into the series, even though they had a fine road trip. I was worried going into the series, considering they've been so poor at Kauffman Stadium, The fact that they followed it up with winning all 3 games and doing it in a fashion like we just mentioned, where the power has shown up and the bullpen has been pretty solid for the most part, and walk-off wins, and Nick Lofton hitting home runs, and then Salvador Perez having 2 last night. I go back to the game in Arizona when Salvi got plunked and then followed it up with a home run. And it was pretty fiery after he hit that home run. He's gone on a power tear ever since then. And, so I mean, I don't want to be hyperbolic and call that a turning point, but at the same time, we needed to see this offense wake up, and that offense is led by Salvador Perez, and he's absolutely shown that, especially in this series.
It is. He's an energy guy. He gets him going, but the reality is he's just really good at what he does for a living. And yes, his power has been missing in the middle of the lineup. Home run power specifically. I mean, those are the kinds of things. Look, and I don't want to get overly optimistic either, but this is the kind of thing that's just been sitting there that made the bad play frustrating. Because if the power can return for Salvi, Jack Caglianone's sitting there and has given you essentially nothing, and now has given you 2 more home runs this week. Like, if they get that power into the lineup with what they've already got, it is a totally different. We're talking about a totally different trajectory for this team. I still outside of absolute disaster here against the Mets, the momentum into the All-Star break is going to be positive. They will have, they've won 7 out of 8 or whatever it is, and now they get a chance to do this at home. They're going to be in a good position. I'm still optimistic. It's been really hard to be optimistic, in the last month. But at the end of the day, the roster is really good. And the chemistry, we think, based on last year and nothing essentially changing, is really good. There has never been a reason to think, man, this team's just going to totally fall flat outside of them winning the games. And now they are. And so it does feel good again, just to know, like, okay, this is what we thought all year. Like, this is what this team can be. We're seeing it now translate in the month of July. It's just been really refreshing.
Yeah, and I think that what has been the major issues for the Royals hasn't been hard to diagnose. You can look at it, exactly where they've been lacking, and that's been power in the middle of their lineup, just in general, their lineup in general. And the fact that we've seen them win in this way, 2 home runs from Salvi last night, Jack Caglianone added another one. You'd like to be positive and think that this is something that can be sustained long-term. They've got a tough series, though, this weekend coming up.
And we'll have more on that later in the hour. When we come back, though, let's talk about this NCAA tournament expansion idea. I may not be in the popular column on this one. We'll have that next on Sports Daily.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story, clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor here. Glad to be here with you. Hey, we're gonna get you out to Margaritaville night with the wind surge here, or try anyway. We're giving away 5 pairs of tickets. It's Saturday, this coming Saturday at Equity Bank Park. All you got to do to get out there in your best Hawaiian and celebrate is simply text the keyword SURGE to the short code 20357 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to Margaritaville night with the wind surge. Message and data rates apply. Visit kfhradio.com for more details. Winners will be chosen tomorrow. Today is your last chance to enter, I'm told. So we'll give away the remainder of those tickets today, this Saturday, Margaritaville night at the wind surge. Good luck, everybody. It's Surge 20357. Welcome back into Sports Daily. Tommy, NCAA tournament expansion is on the table. There are proposals here for 72 or 76 teams. But what is your initial thought when you hear that?
I mean, why? I understand why from a revenue perspective. Does it change the tournament for the better? I don't think so. But I understand the underlying reasons why the proponents of expansion are pushing for this. I just think it dilutes it even more. And whether you have 64, 68, 72, 128, whatever the number is, you're always going to have the teams on the outside looking in. And there's always going to be the conversation of, well, so-and-so team should have made it. And so it's never going to end that debate. I don't know if it, I mean, I just don't understand what kind of net positive there is out of this.
Well, the net positive is money. That's the net positive. Teams are revenue sharing. So, I mean, that part of it is easy to understand. Whether you like it or not, it's easier to understand that piece of it because teams need more revenue. I mean, that part of it to me, like, you got to understand that these schools are having their revenue shorted by, I would think, a pretty decent amount. So that part, that's not even the really crazy part. For me, I don't care if they don't do this, but if they do it, I don't see it as just, oh, now it's like, why, like, well, this is going to ruin the tournament. A couple of stipulations. The biggest stipulation on it for me is the expansion cannot impact what happens on the first Thursday of basketball moving forward. Can't do that. And I don't think it will. Doesn't sound like it will. From the Thursday to the championship, our viewing lives does not change in an expansion format. That is priority one. You have to make sure that happens. We had this same conversation, Tommy, about how catastrophic and ridiculous it would be to expand from 64 to 68. Is there even a measurement on the scale of how much that has impacted how much you enjoy the NCAA tournament?
I mean, I don't think it's going to change my overall enjoyment of it.
Change anything for anybody.
But it's not certainly going to make it better. Like I think the argument of like,
right?
Hey, this is going to make the tournament. No, it's not going to make the tournament better. It's just more teams.
I agree. It doesn't make the tournament better. I agree with that. But it makes the season better potentially.
Why?
For 12 more teams if they did 76. Let me tell you why. Because and this is, listen, again, I'm not advocating for this. I'm just saying I don't think it's that big a deal if it happens. And because of the financial components, I think it's fine. And we can get into the specifics of it in a minute, but just like at the surface, because I was thinking about this yesterday. I was talking with our guy Brandon Zenner because he was pretty anti-tournament. I'm like, I'm kind of agnostic. I don't really care. It's because I think for me, like, once we get to 64 and it starts on Thursday, nothing will have changed for me. But I use, like, Wichita State jumped to mind as an example, or teams that play in the American. What would make for a more exciting or better in totality season as a fan for you? Let's say you're a Shocker fan, an invitation to the NIT, or being the 71st team in the NCAA tournament.
I don't think it matters, honestly. When you're like, from a financial perspective, it obviously does.
Well, no, I don't. I'm talking about just from a fan's perspective.
I don't think it matters because
I do think as a fan, if your team was in that, you'd be more inclined to get excited for it than a tournament that isn't involved.
Let's be real. Either way, the 71st team in the tournament or a bid to the NIT, either one of those things is kind of a consolation. Like I think. I mean,
I agree with that. I agree with that. But which one's better?
I mean, better for what? Better for
fans,
who?
just for the fans.
I think it's negligible. I don't think think it matters either way.
And here's the thing, like, you can't think of it through the lens of Kansas, right? Because it doesn't matter for Kansas. or if you're a Duke fan or a Kentucky fan, I don't even like, I think that college basketball diehards, this is not for you. It's not even intended to be for you. I think if I'm looking for the benefit of it, because again, I'm going to say this 1,000 times because I don't want people to think I'm like advocating for expansion. I'm not advocating for expansion. I just don't really care if they expand. And I can see where there could be some benefit potentially and almost no risk. That's the other thing to this to me. There's almost no risk in expansion. Like nothing will change for what the tournament means to us as a country. So if I'm just trying to like look at it neutrally, I'm like, well, yeah, it could be cool for some fan bases. I'll give you another example of where I think it could be positive is if you are a really good team playing in a league that is not a Power 4 league, maybe not even in a team in that next rung. Like last year, I think it was at UC Irvine would have been an example of this, where you get bounced. You had a great season. You're a really good team. You get bounced in your conference tournament, and that goes down the toilet. It does also open up.
You think that if that happens, that the committee's going to put UC Irvine in the tournament?
Well, last year
they're going to put 17 and 15 Florida State into the tournament.
That's what the fear is. I get it.
That's the reason for expansion. You've got the Power 2 or even the Power 4 for that matter, but primarily the Power 2 and specifically the SEC and Greg Sankey. And I get it. They're the big bad wolf. They're the boogeyman, behind the curtain for good reason. The argument is that ultimately expansion is going to go and benefit mediocre major conference teams to allow them into the tournament. I cannot imagine scenarios where a team like you just gave the example of UC Irvine is going to get a bid if they lose their conference tournament, but on paper, they still have the metrics to make it in. It's going to go to a mediocre major conference.
If you go to the bubbles last year, and unless they change the criteria to get in, which I have not heard that at all, I don't think they're changing what the committee uses to select teams. If you went to 76 last year, you would have had majors, right? But you would have also had Dayton. You'd have had UC Irvine. And was SMU in the ACC last year playing basketball? They were.
No.
Not yet. Yeah, they were. They weren't in the American last year.
Yeah, they weren't in the American.
So you're right. So they were ACC. So they'd be a major. You'd have 3 because Boise State would also get in. So you'd have Boise State, Dayton, and UC Irvine would have gotten in. The other, whatever it is, the other 6 or 8 or whatever it is, would have had the others. So yeah, I think by and large, you'll have high majors because they're typically the bubble teams. But it also does open the door for that scenario. Just again, trying to find some positives. The other big criteria for me that I think this must change, if they were to do this, and I think you would have a window to maybe make this change, if you are an automatic qualifier, if you have qualified that way, for me, if they do this, you cannot play in these play-in games. That's the other thing I think that would be a positive. One of the things that bugs me about the first 4 is teams that qualified as AQs get shoved into that first 4. That first 4 should exclusively be for at-large teams. And I think if they expand, it must be, and it won't be, but this would be one of the criteria for me. You'd have to do it for AQs only. No, I'm sorry, for non-AQs only, for at-larges only. The AQs are guaranteed a spot in the 64. The rest, those can be at-larges. I think that would also make this beneficial to smaller schools. It's probably going to happen, guys. They've been talking about this now for 5 years. Like the expansion's going to happen. And again, we're talking about it from a fan's perspective. From a business perspective, it's a no-brainer for them if they can make more money out of it because they need more money now in the new model moving forward.
I think as long as everybody calls it for what it is and everybody is open and vocal about the real reasons for this and that it's a money play.
It is. And that's all I've seen off the top of every explanation.
Well, no. Like the actual, the people that are arguing for this, your conference commissioners and, different people in favor of this, the biggest reason that they're arguing for this is the word quote unquote access. It gives more
But
teams
access means money.
I mean, it gives more teams access to the NCAA tournament, the word access. There's a really good article, and I'm skimming through it right now. I'm going to read it in depth later on today. But there's a really good article that came out just recently. I mean, within the last, when it came out 3 days ago, from Matt Norlander from CBS Sports. And he basically gives mathematical reasons as to why the expansion of the tournament is not necessary and actually largely unwanted. There's a bunch of math and data that goes
it's
into
unwanted. Yeah, no,
but also unnecessary, and how the myth of access is just that. It's a myth. And one of the biggest things that, and I'm paraphrasing here, but one of the biggest arguments is that these people who are advocating for it are saying things like, well, there are more Division I teams now than there were back in the 80s when the tournament expanded to 64 teams. And so because there are I think it's almost 100 more Division I teams, that it will be more equitable for them if you expand the NCAA tournament and make it possible for more teams to get into it. Matt Norlander breaks down the math and shows that it is a minuscule percentage of teams that have been added to Division I basketball since the mid 80s when the tournament expanded that have actually gotten an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament. And so like it's minuscule. You're talking like less than 1%. And so that myth of access, that argument of access, is not based in fact. It's kind of gaslighting a little bit. It's like, well, we really want to do this to make it possible for more teams that wouldn't have an opportunity to get into the NCAA tournament, actually get in and play games. That's a straw man argument. That's not the real reason behind it. It's because these conference commissioners want their mediocre teams that are not going to get an NCAA tournament bid to get into the tournament. That's the only reason, because they can make more money that way. That's the only reason why they want tournament expansion. And you want to tell me that the NCAA tournament is going to be better because you've got 500 teams making it into the tournament? Absolutely not.
Or 76, but I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I'm
not saying 500. I'm saying teams that are at 500, like that are 16 and 16.
It doesn't, again,
here's the major conference teams.
The harsh reality, Tommy, is if we're talking about just the tournament, we don't need 64 teams. You need like 20. Okay, because the history of this tournament, it's only the top seeds winning this tournament ever anyway. You've had one underdog. If you even in 1985, when the tournament started, Villanova won it as an 8 seed. In 88, Kansas won it as a 6 seed. Every other season, other than one with UConn, in the history of this tournament, it has been a top 4 seed that has won the championship. The entire idea of a Cinderella is a myth anyway, but we love the tournament. So again, I'm just trying to be realistic. Of course it's a money. They can say whatever they want. It doesn't matter. It's a money play for sure.
Here's another point from Matt Norlander's article. Over the last 10 years, and this kind of speaks a little bit to what you're talking about high seeds that are going on and winning these tournament games. Over the last 10 years, there have been 362 at-large bids. Okay, so 362. Out of that 362, 304 of them went to schools in a power conference. So 83% of the at-large bids went to power conference schools. These at-large bids, by and large, are not going to schools like UC Irvine that you mentioned. And I understand, you brought them up because where they were at in the bubble this last year. But by and large, the at-large bids are going to major conference schools as it stands right now. That percentage is only going to stay where it's at or increase with an expansion of the tournament. So while you may get a little outlier here and there of another mid-major school getting an at-large bid, we're talking about opening up the tournament to teams in major conferences that are just not very good. That's what we're talking about here. And so if the argument is, and if everybody's out in the open about it, hey, look, we don't give a crap about the quality of the tournament. We don't give a crap about, mediocre teams getting in or not. We just want them to be able to make more money. Then all right, at least we're all out in the open about it. We know why we're doing this. But don't make the argument that we're trying to make.
They're not going to be out in the open about it.
We're going to try to make it better for teams in the A10 to get into the tournament, or we're going to try to make it better for teams in the Sun Belt to get an at-large bid, because that's crap. That doesn't happen.
Look, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, it is a money play. Yes, it's going to heavily weight to power conferences, but it's not going to never give those teams a chance, even if it's one a year, right? It gives more access. I think we're overthinking all of it, because the reality is it does not matter to determining the champion in college basketball. It's irrelevant. These teams never win. Never. You want to talk about bad percentages? How about never? Never. A double-digit seed has never won the NCAA championship ever in the history of the tournament, right? So it's irrelevant. It's all optics. Who cares?
Who cares about the expansion? I mean, I think the general public who's they're watching these tournament games care about that. I think fans that care about college basketball leading up to the tournament care about this. I mean, if you go back to a year ago, the SEC and the Big 12, the Big 10, the SEC and the Big 10, they sent 22 out of their 34 teams to the tournament. That's 65%. So I think that we're looking at a situation where if this expands to 76 and then it goes, I mean, I don't think it's ever going to stop.
22 out of 64.
No. Out of their conference teams. So the SEC and the Big Ten sent 22 of their collective 34 teams to the tournament. I think you're going to be probably looking at, 30 out of 34 of their teams going to the tournament. Why have conference tournaments at that point?
Right. No, the risk to a conference tournament is already high. And we'll get to some of these viewer comments. We appreciate all of them. We'll get to them. I've got to say it 1,000 times because it's going to sound like I'm advocating for expansion. I'm not advocating for expansion. I'm fine without expansion. Just understand that the expansion's happening for a reason that's probably necessary. And then for me, it's like, it doesn't really do anything for me one way or the other. Just like expanding to 68 hasn't done anything for me one way or the other. I rarely watch a play-in game unless it's a team I care about, which is what would happen in this scenario. We'll continue the conversation on the other side. We're right up against a break. Stick around. More Sports Daily right after this.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
KFH.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily here on KFH, discussing the potential 2025, 26 NCAA tournament with expansion. Is that what it is? Final 2026, this would happen. Let's get to, and again, disclaimer, not advocating to expand the NCAA tournament. Don't really care. It's kind of a non-starter for me. Don't care. Just making that clear. Just trying to look at it from all angles here. I think that it's coming because I think they need it to come for the money. Let's get to some of the viewer comments. Rick says it's just jobbing more schools, so more average big schools get in. Even though they have zero chance to win the tournament, none of the teams that we're talking about that are in this range have a chance to win the NCAA tournament. Not one. Historically, ever in the history of this tournament has had a chance to win the NCAA tournament. So it doesn't matter if they're a big school, small school, whatever, that none of them have a chance. Doesn't happen. Never. Like never in the history of this tournament.
Yeah, again, I think that's fine as long as you're calling it for what it is. I think Rick is right on when he says that it's about the big schools getting in.
How is it jobbing the small schools?
Call a spade. I don't agree with that part of it. I mean, I think that as long as we know that it's not going to benefit the small schools going in, as long as it's out in the open, and I don't want this like shred of hope from these mid-majors that, hey, by expanding the tournament, that's going to help our chances to get in, because it's not. That's not the point of it. That's not the purpose of it. And you won't benefit from it. And so as long as everybody knows that going into it, all right, like, let's just be open about it and call a spade a spade. This is to help the major conferences get more of their teams in. Bottom line, end of story.
Just help the major conferences make more money, as much as anything else, like to make more money. I think we have to what do we consider the Big East? Is that because that's not a Power Four, because they're probably getting more teams in. Seton Hall, I believe, would have been in that range last year. Providence would have been in that range in 24, I should say, going back 2 years. Villanova would have been in that range, as I'm just trying to scour for final bubbles. So do we think of the Big East as a power conference? Because they're probably getting more teams in. The Mountain West is probably getting more teams in. Are we talking about only the automatic qualifying leagues where you got to win the conference tournament? Or are we talking about, are you extending that net out to Big East, Mountain West, Atlantic 10, American?
It's a trickle down. It's a trickle down effect. I mean, I think the biggest beneficiaries, again, are going to be SEC and Big 10. And then after that, the Big 12. And then after that, probably the Big East and the ACC and Mountain West and the conferences you mentioned. It'll trickle down. Yeah. But for the leagues that get one bid in, and you know what, look, I look at a conference where you maybe have two teams at the top that are battling for a conference championship, and they're both on the bubble, and one of the teams is going to get in and the other one is going to stay home. This expansion is not going to help them. That's the second team is more than likely not going to get in. I would imagine the committee, which is mostly made up of major conference people, are going to vote for a mid-range.
Well, it's not supposed to be a vote, though. It is supposed to be a formula.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to tell you, throughout I get what you're doing. In this entire argument, though, you sound a little Pollyannish. Well, it's not supposed to be this way. It is.
I'm not being Pollyannish. I'm the one being realistic. Here's the bottom line. Tommy, do you care at all about the first 4 games that are played in the NCAA tournament? At all? Do you care about those games?
The ones on Tuesday and Wednesday?
Yes.
Yeah, I watch them. I care about them. Absolutely.
Okay, well, I don't, and I don't think most people do. And I don't think you're going to care if it's 2 games or 6 games or whatever it is.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you care about watching teams leading up to the tournament that are on the bubble, that are 19 and 11, that have the metrics to maybe get in and maybe not, and you're like, man, I wonder if they're going to get in, and you watch that drama unfold the couple of weeks prior to the NCAA tournament? In this expansion, that team is easily going to get in.
But then another team's on the bubble.
Yeah,
the bubble doesn't go away.
15 and 15. Who cares about them? You're devaluing the appeal of leading up to the tournament. You're devaluing
I agree.
the reason why people get into this, not just for the tournament itself, but for the drama leading up to it. I can promise you there are a lot of people out there, myself included, that will care less about a team that is hovering around 500 and them being on the bubble, rather than a team that is, let's say, I remember this happening, gosh, when was it? Maybe this last year, Oklahoma in the Big it was Oklahoma State, I think, in the Big 12, whatever it was, a couple years ago, that were 20 and 12, and we're debating their strength of schedule and whether or not they're actually going to get in. In this expansion formula, they're easily in, and the drama just goes away at that point.
Well, it moves down the list. Again, I'm not even disagreeing with what you and Rick and anybody is saying. I'm not. I don't want the expansion. It's coming. It's going to happen. Brandon says, why not play it in a separate play-in tournament? I mean, I think they do play it in a separate. That's what the first 4 is. And so if it's the first, how many would that be? If it's the first 14 instead of the first 4, it's going to be the same thing. You'll just have more play-in games to the seed lines. So I think that's exactly what it is. He says, I don't think of the first 4 as part of the tournament. I don't either, except those teams sometimes come in and make Sweet 16 runs. So I think in that way you can. Wichita State played in the first 4 not that long ago. And I'm just telling you, it was a better outcome for Shocker fans that they did that than they missed and went to the NIT. That's why? Back to my initial point. That's because you're playing to get into the NCAA tournament.
You can't say it was better for them when
it was more enjoyable.
Why? How?
What do you mean how? Because they're trying to get into the NCAA tournament.
You just said you don't care at all about the first four. So how does that?
Okay. So when I say that, I'm talking about as a fan that likes the NCAA tournament. I told you right off the top, the thing that I go back to the most, this is, let me go all the way back there. For the fans of these teams, whichever teams they are, small school, big school, whatever it is, it will make their season, the end of their season, better to be playing in the 75 versus 71 game than the NIT. It will be better.
That is ridiculous. Because it is, because what kinds of teams are going to be the 75 versus the 71?
Wichita State playing Virginia Tech.
Yeah, you're going back to that argument that these other teams that are not power conference teams are going to get those bids. They're not going to get those bids.
They would have had 3 of them last year, Tommy.
Okay, if the tournament expands by 8 teams to 68 to 76, how many of those 8 bids are going to go to mid-major schools?
It will change every year. It'll be different every year.
Generally speaking, if you had to guess, how many of those 8 are going to go to schools like Wichita State?
Probably 25%.
It's got to be less than that.
You think it'll be less than 2?
Maybe one of them. Maybe
you think it'll be less than 2?
100%
every year.
Absolutely.
Last year it would have been 3.
You're fooling yourself if you think that an expansion to 8 teams is going to get more mid-major teams in. It's
last year it would have been 3.
The data backs it up that the teams that are not that are not the high major schools are not getting these at-large bids. It's not happening.
I don't even care if it's not them. Like, that's not what I'm trying to say at all. It doesn't matter. It would have been 3 last year. There are some years it would be 0. You're trying to make that the thing I care the most about. That is not even remotely in the power list of things that I think about with this expansion. That's very far down the list. I don't care.
In the last segment, I told you what the stats were in the last 10 years that at-large bids, 83% of them went to power conference schools.
Okay.
Let
me say this again. I don't care if it's 0%. That is not, I don't care about that.
Don't use the Wichita State argument then if you don't care about that part of it. Because this doesn't benefit Wichita State.
Kansas State. Here's Kansas State. You don't think for a Kansas State fan it would be more fun to be in that play-in game than the NIT?
I mean, you're talking about...
Do you think programs are turning down bids to be the 76 seed?
No, but I also don't think... I think it's negligible. I don't think it's this major benefit, like this major boon to a program.
I don't either, but it's something.
To limp their way into a 75th team into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it's something, though. I'm not saying it's major either. I'm just saying it's happening.
Okay,
it's going to happen.
If it's not major and if it's not a monumental shift and a huge benefit to the program, then why are we doing this? We're doing it for a money grab.
Of course we're doing it for a money grab.
So I go back to what I said at the very beginning. Let's call a spade and not
Tom, I said that from the beginning. I don't care what they call it.
Okay, but let's not argue the merits of it, because the merits of it, the data shows that this is not a beneficial thing. So you can't argue the merits of it if it's just a money grab. Call it for what it is. We're trying to have these schools make more money. Done. Okay, cool. Let's not try to say it's beneficial, because it's really not, outside of a financial component. It's not beneficial to the fans. It's not beneficial to the mid-majors. It's not beneficial to the non-power conferences.
If you only want to look at the data, then let's make it a 32-team tournament.
Okay.
Because the data shows that no team ever in the history of the tournament has won it outside the 32. If you want to go by the data, make it a 16-team tournament.
Okay. Like you're not going to get an argument from me about that. I think that's great, but it's not going to happen.
You think this should be a 16-team tournament because the data shows only top 4 seeds ever win it?
No, I'm talking about the data as far as when you get further down in the seed list, what we're talking, like what the benefit is for these teams to be in. Like, if you're,
what's the benefit of a 7 seed? They never win.
Okay, we're talking about teams that are safe, that have been safely in for the last 40 years. Like, I'm not advocating that it's not a benefit to those teams to get in. Absolutely it is. And how many higher seeds are making it to the Sweet 16? Like, there are major benefits to that. So if you're only going based off of national championships, then why do we have a 12-team college football playoff.
Exactly.
I'm
exactly. It's not all about just the data of who wins these titles.
It's not. I'm not arguing about just the data of national championships. Like, that's one aspect of it. There's a lot of other data in general about the tournament that I think shows that a 64 or 68 team tournament, if you include the first 4 games, is beneficial overall to those teams. I just don't think it's necessary to expand it at all. And I think by and large, the majority of people agree with that.
See, I from a viewing, I agree. I think it's necessary for the schools because they need the money. Here's Rob Douster, who's a big college basketball reporter, put out a poll. 94% of people don't want expansion. I don't want you to think that I'm in the 6% that want expansion. I don't want expansion. I don't need expansion. It doesn't do anything for me. I understand that they're going to do it for the money. I don't care what else they say. They can say whatever they want. Obviously, they're doing this because they can make more money with it. And I think schools probably need to make more money. So I'm just trying to look at it as how much is this really going to impact what happens to me over spring break when the NCAA tournament starts. And the reality for me is almost zero, because I don't like, it's going to be a 60. When I really want like this amazing sports event that happens, when it starts, it's going to be 64 teams. No matter how many teams get in before that. When push comes to shove, when it matters, it starts with 64.
You want to know the big reason why I think that this is probably going to happen despite people not wanting it? It's going to give people like you and me and other people more opportunities to bet. You're going to get to gamble more.
That's true.
On games that don't matter. You're going to be spending a lot more money on sports wagering.
It's money. There's no, like, don't let anybody else fool you. It's a money play. There's no question. We'll come back. We got Tim Fitzgerald next hour. We got more Royals talk. Here we go.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Sports Daily. We are having fun here on a Thursday. It is. We will kind of put a bow on this piece of the NCAA tournament expansion. We'll get back to the Royals, and then maybe we bring that up with Fitz, see what his take is on it a little bit. Brandon also says plenty of top-ranked teams get eliminated by low seeds. So let me go back to where I started with this. I'm not advocating for it. I don't want it. I don't care as long as a couple of things don't happen. It's for the money. Everybody must understand it's all about the money, and it's going to happen most likely. The big fear for me is not that the extra teams are heavily weighted to power conferences that don't really care about that. The big fear for me is that when this happens, they put all the double-digit your true Cinderellas. Those are exclusively the teams that get put in the first part. That, to me, would alter the tournament of 64 teams, which we all know and love so much. That's what I don't want to see. It already bugs me that 16 seeds play in that. It doesn't make those first 4 games very good or very watchable. I'd much rather watch when it's like the 2, what is the other seed line? 10 seeds. Like I'd much rather watch that one than I would the 16s. So to me, that's my biggest fear in this, is that they take those automatic qualifiers and they put them in the first play-in part of this tournament. That's what would piss me off of all of this. Again, I don't care about the change. That I can think of right now. That is the only thing about this that would ruffle my feathers enough to be like, that's BS that they're doing that. Those teams are never going to win the NCAA tournament. We know that. History tells us that. But what they do is they provide the upsets that make the tournament great. If you in the first round, if we're sitting there talking about, and there have been a lot of examples of this, like when a 12 seed that's really good, like a really good 12 seed, it's why the 12s upset the 5s. Those don't even feel like upsets anymore. You know what I mean? If all of a sudden we're talking about Arkansas limping in as a 13 seed one year or whatever it ends up being, and they play a 4, that does not have the same allure as Coastal Carolina making a run. And so that I do think alters the tournament. And in all of this, that is the thing that must not happen for me. That would change what 64 teams is. Everything else that we are talking, it doesn't change what 64 teams is to me. So I don't really care. I mean, I hate saying that I don't really care because everybody's so passionate about this, but I really don't care as long as 64 teams stays the way 64 teams currently is.
Yeah, I mean, I could envision a scenario where eventually they get to the point to where the actual tournament itself starts on Tuesday, and then you've got games between a 22 seed and a 4 seed playing on Tuesday, and it just rolls all the way through. If it's a separate play-in tournament on Tuesday and Wednesday or whatever, and then the actual tournament itself starts on Thursday, it's negligible at that point. I guess my major argument to kind of sum up my position on this is that if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If the committee votes on it, the committee votes on it, and it ultimately happens. I just don't think there's much of a reason to debate the merits of it outside of financially. As long as everybody just knows why it's happening, to try to make more money for these major conference schools to get, or conferences to get more teams in. At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's a money play. It's a money grab for revenue sharing, all of that. Okay, we know what it is. We know why it's happening. But I think it's disingenuous, and I'm not saying you're doing this. I think it's disingenuous, and I've heard major conference commissioners say, look, we're really trying to expand access for some other schools that maybe wouldn't have an opportunity to get in. That's crap. They're not going to get in. Historically, at-larges don't go to those schools. So unless the argument in expansion is, hey, we want to try to give when it is necessary, lower level conferences more automatic qualifiers, and that will never happen. These at-large bids, I don't care if you're expanding it by 4 teams, 8 teams, or 24 teams, by and large, the mid-major schools are not getting those at-large bids anyway. It hasn't happened. It doesn't happen. So it's disingenuous to make that argument anyway, and that it's going to be a major benefit to them. As long as we all know this is for major conferences to get their mediocre teams in so they can make more money, that's the end all be all of all of it. So let's just put it all out there.
Yeah, and they don't even need, like, the reality is, and look, they can say from time to time it will create more access. It would from time to time. But the reality is, and I don't even think people would, like, in the current environment, Tommy, I can accept the fact that the conferences need more money coming in because through revenue share, they have more money going out. Like, that just doesn't bother me that they're doing this to make more money because they need more money to pay the players. So that part, like, you don't have to try to sugarcoat it for me. Like, I understand what's happening and I'm fine with what's happening. I just, like, I think that from time to time as a fan, it could enhance your season. For 95% of fans, it will have zero impact on the season, just like the first 4. But what will alter what we love is if they take away our true Cinderellas out of the tournament. That is going to change the cultural impact of the NCAA tournament because non-college basketball fans love that more than anything, even though those teams never have a chance to win this tournament. Ever in the history of the world have they had a real chance to win this tournament. It still feels fun when they get a win or two and maybe in the wildest scenarios can make a run to the Final Four, which has been all it's ever been. Maybe. And even that is such a slim chance. It's not even like you're really banking on a team for a first round win, maybe 2 wins to get into the Sweet 16. So we have to hang on to that. Don't make the play-in. And I do think this is going to be a play-in portion. Like, I think that's where this is going to be. Don't make that just a play-in tournament that features 14, 15, and 16 seeds that we then are going to have less of them in the actual NCAA tournament.
No,
I
don't
think impacts.
I don't think that that's the direction that they're going. I think that what we're looking at here is an opportunity for, I use the example of like a Florida State that is hovering around 500 and that, would not even be in the conversation. Now, all of a sudden they're on the bubble. One of the things that I really enjoy leading up to the tournament is looking at bubble watch, right? Like the teams that are the last 4 in and the first 4 out, and the next 4 out, and what they need to do to be able to get in. That doesn't change. Like they're still a bubble, but the teams that we're talking about are teams that are even less deserving of getting into the NCAA tournament. We're not even talking about good teams at this point. We're talking about mediocre teams at this point that are probably around 500 basketball, and we're talking about them getting into the tournament. I think that even if we're putting this into a separate play-in earlier in the week, collectively, overall, it devalues the NCAA tournament as a whole because you are making it more inclusive and you're adding teams in that are not worthy of being tournament teams, like being called an NCAA tournament team. One of the other arguments in this that I do think is interesting that somebody brought up on social media is that there are a lot of times where coaches, multiple times, I mean, like every coach in America, they get judged on NCAA tournament bids, right? Like whether or not they lose their job or if they get a contract extension, they get a raise, if they trigger bonuses in their contract, how many NCAA tournament bids did they have or did they make the tournament? This will be easier for major conference coaches to get into the NCAA tournament. And ultimately, if they're being judged on that, that helps them out.
Major conference coaches are going to be fired less frequently. This is a prediction I've wanted to make for a while. They'll be fired less frequently because schools can't afford the buyouts anymore like they used to be able to in the new model. Just as an aside to that point. Yeah, I don't know if we're really, hopefully athletic directors are smarter than that. And they're not they're like, well, yeah, you made it in as a 71. Are we really count that? But who knows? They're trying to save their bacon too. So maybe they can put more roses on it. I do think we see far less buyouts in the new world than we used to. Real quick, coming up this hour, we can have more comments on the NCAA tournament expansion discussion. We're going to get back to the Royals in just a second. And our buddy Tim Fitzgerald is going to stop by. We'll get his thoughts on the tournament. I am curious to see what he thinks of this. So we'll have that and then K-State news and nuggets coming out of Big 12 Media Days as well. It's all what's on tap in this hour for you, brought to you by the Wichita Brewing Company. Locations east, west, and historic Delano, featuring a rooftop deck. Wichita Brewing Company. It's pizza, it's beer made here. Don't go away. We can get back to this. If you want to chime in, feel free. We've also got more Royals talk. It's all coming for you. Stick around. More Sports Daily coming up.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Welcome back in, everybody. The Summer Concert Series back at the Capitol Federal Amphitheater in Andover. The series returns Friday. Jet City Live will be on stage. Gates open at 6:30. Show starts at 8. Enjoy free live music, food trucks, and Friday night fun all summer long. Should be a great time out at Andover. Boy, I love live music, and I'm so glad that we have those happening out there. And those are cool events. You can just take a blanket out if you want and just have some fun. So get out there, check out Jet City Live on Friday as a part of the Odyssey family here. All right, Tommy, We can continue to take comments and commentary on the NCAA tournament discussion. I knew that this one would hit home because we're all college basketball fans in this part of the world. And even if you're not a college basketball fan, you're an NCAA tournament fan. That's pretty universal in this country. So, how much does it impact what we love, I think becomes the big part of the discussion. But yeah, the money is changing, and the necessity for these teams, these conferences, everybody to create more of it has never been higher. They're sharing their revenue now with players. So just we got to all understand this is just kind of stuff's coming. Like it's the lay of the land now. But let's talk Royals here, Tommy. Winners last night. They complete the sweep against the Pirates. They do it with 3 multi-home run games at Kauffman Stadium in the series. The numbers around that particular statistic this year going into that Pirates series did not seem real. They had 1 multi-home run game at Kauffman Stadium. 1 multi-home run game at Kauffman Stadium going into this series. That is insane and unbelievable. So maybe, Tommy, if that is unbelievable, which I propose that it is, in the law of averages sport of baseball, maybe the law of averages means they're going to power up at home here, coming down the second half of the season. And if that happens, if this team finds its home run power, it could be a completely different scenario than we've been envisioning. Can they scratch and claw it together? Can they find enough? Well, what did we envision for this team power-wise at the beginning of the year? It wasn't to be a home run hitting team, but it was to be around the middle of the league, right? A league average type of power offense, maybe slightly below league average. Nobody expected it to be far and away the worst power in the major leagues. So maybe there is quite a bit of room for improvement there just naturally.
Well, there absolutely has been room for improvement. There's needed to be improvement. And again, like I'll go back to what I said in the last hour, that I don't want to overreact because, it's 3 games in a row at home. The way that in which they won, very encouraging. It's got to be sustained. It gets more difficult against the Mets this weekend. I mean, let's be real. The Pirates are not a good baseball team. They've got decent pitching, but other than that, they're not a great baseball team. And so I think you take that into consideration as well. They're not playing they weren't playing a juggernaut in this series. But that being said, they struggled mightily at Kauffman Stadium in the month of June. They couldn't win baseball games at home, and they were showing no offense whatsoever when they were playing at home. And both of those things were changed in this series. And I would like to think that it is the linchpin. I'd like to think that it is, sort of the turning point a little bit for the offensive woes, especially at home, that they've shown that they can do it in 3 straight games. They've won 6 of 7. They've got themselves back hovering around 500. They're 2 games under with 3 games to go before the All-Star break. So they could, in theory, at home, if they sweep the Mets, that's, probably not reasonable. It's probably not reasonable, but if they do, they're over 500 at the All-Star break. Yeah. And we're right back into the discussion there.
If they sweep the Mets, the hype machine's going to go out of control, off the rails, and I'll be the most guilty of it probably. If they sweep the Mets at home, if they just win the series, Tommy, this outlook. Well, let's go through the scenarios, because this is what JJ Piccolo was talking about earlier this week, and he gets to have this. He gets to have this opinion. It is the correct opinion, but we're not going to, because we talk on the radio for a living. That what the outcome, the singular outcome of this Mets series is not going to determine what the Royals do. That's fine. It's probably true. He would not be great at his job if he did that. If he really went off the rails because of one series. So I believe him, and I take him at his word at that. Us, however, we're not going to do that. We're going to overreact to individual series in baseball, because that's what fans do, and we're far more in tune with fans than we are front offices. So if they were to sweep the Mets, if they are to just, let's take it each of the 3 scenarios. If they sweep the Mets, the Royals should be buyers. Agree or disagree?
I would agree with. I think they should be buyers. I even think if they don't sweep the Mets, they should be buyers.
We're going to take this. We're going to take this every way. If they win 2 of 3 from the Mets, the Royals should be buyers.
Yes.
If they win one of 3 against the Mets, the Royals should be buyers.
Yes.
If they are swept by the Mets, the Royals should be buyers.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think this series, I don't think the next 3 games,
Yeah.
in my opinion, should take the Royals out of buying consideration. I think that regardless of the outcome, they should be buyers.
I hesitantly agree. Seth Lugo's the one that just continues to stick in my craw of like, if you have the most valuable asset on the market and somebody absolutely blows you away, like you have to, at minimum, you have to listen to offers on Seth Lugo. You have to. You have to listen to the offers. You don't have to take any of them. You don't even have to, you can half-ass listen, but you got to listen. And if somebody absolutely blows the doors off, it needs to be entertained. Outside of that, I would say, yes, they should be buyers. And they should be buyers either way with Seth Lugo, whether they, one way or the other.
I agree with that. I want to throw out a potential trade target name that has been floated around. In fact, about a week ago, Ken Rosenthal mentioned this guy as somebody that the Royals were interested in. And there have been other places too. I think ESPN has mentioned it. But we've gotten to see in the last couple of games, Brian Reynolds, the outfielder for the Pirates, has been linked as a potential trade candidate for the Royals. Of course, they need outfield help. And this wouldn't be a rental play. Brian Reynolds is locked up for quite a long time with the Pirates. It would be more of a whether or not the Royals would want to take on his salary, which is fairly hefty. But he's been a proven production type guy for the Pirates for a long time. And what's interesting about this is that apparently he's got a no trade clause.
He does.
Have you seen the teams that are on his no trade clause?
It's the weirdest no trade clause ever.
He doesn't want to go to the Yankees, the Mets, the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Padres. He basically doesn't want to go to any contender, which I think is kind of weird. But that would make it, I guess, easier for the Royals to acquire him.
Little red flaggy.
Yeah,
perhaps.
It's a little weird.
He has been better since late June. He's raised his average up, and then he kind of had a bad series there against the Royals. Not a good. He has 1 hit in his last 6 games, but he had a stretch where he was heating up. Historically, Brian Reynolds would be a great addition. I don't know what's going on with him this year. He's only 30. He's not older. He's a guy historically that you'd love to have, as a part of your team. He's been an all-star twice. His WAR is usually good, and it's been at times great. It's just not been a great year. So I don't think I would be. I'm okay with the money aspect of it. What is remaining on his contract?
He's got until 2030. So he's got another 5.
He signed a big deal.
Yeah.
But it's only $12.5 million. It's $15 million a year. You'd have him, you'd be on the hook. He's 30 now through his age 35 season. So you'd have whatever's left this year and then basically like a 5-year, $75 million contract. That would put him in line. Let's just look. I think it would be their second highest paid. Well, third. I just want to look at real quick what the Royals position players are. So you've got Bobby Witt Jr. right now that would be higher. Salvi, Waka, Lugo. Yeah, that would be it. Those are the only. So he immediately, outside of Bobby and Salvador Perez, becomes your most expensive player.
But he becomes your everyday left fielder, right?
I mean, he does. And if you get his production that he's basically given over the course of his career at $15 million a year, you're taking that. That's fine. But what I think you got to keep in mind with him is the Pirates are likely not going to eat any of that money.
Yeah.
So that hurts. And eventually you're going to have to get around to Vinny Pasquantino, and you're going to have to get around to some of these players within that window that, you have to be comfortable with that money impacting your ability down the road to potentially re-signing guys like Michael Garcia and Vinny Pasquantino.
And look, it's also a gamble. I mean, it's not a sure thing. He's been good. He's a 2-time All-Star, but he hasn't been good this year. So you're taking a gamble on whether or not he's going to return to form, or if you're locked into a player with diminishing returns for the next 5 years and you're paying him quite a bit of money. So there is a gamble. And that's probably why, I don't know if there have been really intense trade talks between the two teams on that. But that would be why I think the Pirates should be interested in potentially moving him, because they are locked into him for a long time and he's not played well this year. So will he bounce back from that or not? I'm sure the Pirates would probably rather allocate those dollars elsewhere, especially as they're kind of rebuilding, as opposed to being locked into an over 30 player who has, seen his stats diminish this year.
Agree. And the problem is the Pirates are very likely not going to eat that money. You can get Reynolds for essentially nothing, I would imagine, because the Pirates are probably fine walking away from the money. But here are the players that will come up before that contract would expire. You would have Salvador Perez, which I don't think is a factor there in that, because he'd be middle-aged and he's still got the deals left. But you would have, more importantly, you'd have Cole Reagans come up. You would have Jonathan India come up if you have any interest there. You'd have Chris Bubich, of course, come up. You would have Vinny Pasquantino come up. You would have Michael Garcia come up. You would have Lucas Erceg come up. All of these key components, I believe, would come up before the end of that contract. So you have to think about that when you think about committing $15 million over a long period of time. Like, again, you've still got 5 years of this deal at minimum. If you can get the production that he's given you through the first 3 years, then of the buyout, because that's what happened, then it's a good deal, I think, for the Royals. But if you don't, for a team like the Royals, it can really hurt you. It can really hurt you. He's not young. He's 30. So I don't think that moves the needle enough for me. I don't think I'd do that deal if I was the Royals. Even though I think he could be a good player, I'd rather give up some prospect capital and get more of a sure thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that if you feel confident in the fact that the 2025 campaign has been an anomaly for him, then I think you should feel more comfortable making that move.
Fit right in with the Royals.
Well, right. I feel like if you're JJ Picollo, it's probably more appealing for the idea that he's not a rental. That you're not throwing money at him to come in and help you right away, and then he's going to leave. Like, you're going to be with him for a while. And so if you feel like, hey, 2025 is an anomaly, he's a 2-time All-Star, and he's been productive basically his entire major league career on a pretty bad Pirates team collectively over his tenure in the bigs, then I think should feel confident in trying to go and pursue him. Now, I don't know what they're going to have to give up to get him. And so that may change my mind.
With the money, I don't think much. I mean, that's the appeal.
I do. And with the no trade clause, you've basically eliminated the teams that I think could be super aggressive and outbid the Royals. So I see the stars aligning a little bit for this. And I think it also helps that the Royals and Pirates just played. And so JJ Picollo and Matt Quatrero got an opportunity. He didn't have a good series. Well, I know, but they got a chance to see him up close and personal, and it's top of mind and that sort of thing. The odds of this happening, I don't know. I'd probably put it 50-50 at this
decent.
point.
Decent.
I think it's a decent chance that they acquire him.
Yeah, I think just for me with him, it's John Sherman's money, not my money. If they want to overpay salary for a player that has been a really good player, I'm totally good with that. That there's not, other than the money, there's not a lot of difference between that risk and the risk of trading for Jonathan India. I'm fine with it. I just like the financial component that scares me isn't that they're spending money. It's that, does it take away money they could potentially use to spend on other guys down the road? That would be the financial risk. But again, there can't be much prospect involved in that trade because you're taking on that. If there is, then the Pirates need to eat some of the money.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think the Royals, if they do, work on acquiring him, I don't think this is a move where they should be giving up prospects. I think it's more of like, hey, look, we're gonna take on this salary and we'll, throw a little bit your way. But I don't think this is a mortgage the future type move.
No, if you're going to give up prospects, I think you lean more into a guy like Jaren Duran, who, his best seasons are like top 10 MVP types. That, his best season has been that season, and he is kind of coming around this year, by the way. So like he was floated out. I don't know if the Red Sox are still interested in him. That's a guy that I think you're willing to give up a little bit more for. He becomes more controllable financially. I think his upside is a little bit higher than Brian Reynolds. He doesn't have the track record Brian Reynolds has over the course of his career because he hasn't played as long. But I think those are names. But the other great thing I think for the Royals right now and JJ Picollo is they're sort of repositioning into a position of strength. And we said this a long time ago, and I still believe it. Like the Royals, they made their biggest move, which was calling up Cags. That was the biggest move they were going to make, or are going to make, potentially most impactful move they're going to make. Realistically, they could surprise us for sure. But realistically, making that commitment and making that decision is probably as impactful offensively to what could happen for this team as any other move they're likely to make. And so I don't want to lose sight of that when we get closer to the deadline and say, well, they didn't do anything. They did. They called up their prospect way too early, right? Way earlier than they would have liked to, which has financial implications as much as anything else. But that is a desperate sort of move. So let's not, as they get closer and closer to the deadline, forget that they made that move, because probably that is more impactful than anything else they're going to do. Who was the starting first baseman for them in the playoffs last year? The guy's name is escaping me. The old veteran that went around. Oh my gosh. Where's our great Royals fan?
Yuli Gurriel.
Yeah, Yuli Gurriel.
Yeah.
I would envision that kind of move for the Royals at the deadline if they add a bat. It's going to be a guy like that. I think that would make the most sense to me. Go find a left fielder. Okay, here's another example for you. Same team, Pirates, same connection to the Royals. How about Tommy Pham? Right?
Yeah.
Like that kind of player is, to me, probably the most responsible decision for the Royals. Somebody that you can play in left field, somebody that doesn't cost you much because, like it or not, you're on the fringe. Like this could go off the rails as quickly as you could climb back in it. So you have to be really careful with what you do if you're the Royals. Nothing too expensive. I don't know if fans hate hearing that. Usually I don't like that. I like kind of being one way or the other. But I don't think they need to do that. And I think Seth Lugo remains the most interesting player at the trade deadline for any team. But I think the Royals could make a minor move, and I just don't want to forget that they called up Cags. That was a massive, foundational, altering decision that the organization made, and they just made it a while ago. And he's coming around, finally. We'll get Tim Fitzgerald in. We'll talk K-State. Maybe we'll talk about that NCAA tournament expansion. That's next on Sports Daily.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Welcome back in, everybody. You want to win some HTO iced tea on us here at KFH and here at Sports Daily. You can right now by texting the keyword tea to the short code 20357. That'll get you a free iced tea at either the East Wichita, West Wichita, or Derby location. More than 25 flavors to choose from. When you take it in, go inside. You can try them all for free and then find your favorite and get a free cup on us. Again, that's T to the short code 20357. Good luck, everybody. We welcome in Tim Fitzgerald, our KState Insider, to the program. Fitz, we are fresh through Big 12 media days. Are you in football mode yet now? Did this scratch your itch? Are you ready to roll?
Yeah, I kind of am, but now I've got like 2 weeks of vacation traveling type stuff. So I don't know if I will be after that. I might need a new Big 12 Media Days. And if we could have it like in Wamego, that'd be great.
Yeah, we'll call Yormark. We'll see what he thinks of that idea. It's not bad.
Yeah, I thought it was a good event this year. It was well run. It was efficient. It was a lot better than last year in Las Vegas, which was cumbersome and costly. I like having it in Frisco. I think it's just easy in and out. Plenty of hotels around the facility. Yeah, I thought it was a great event, and I did not enjoy leaving yesterday at 4:30 and getting home at 11 p.m. But that gets back to my need to have this in Wamego and not Frisco. They're very similar towns. I don't know why we can't do that.
Yeah.
They are. They look like identical to each other.
Yeah.
Major takeaways for the Wildcats from media days. I mean, obviously, folks are going to focus on Avery Johnson and his next step forward as the quarterback for the Wildcats. And I think that, at least for me, I think one of the major takeaways is that now that he continues to be firmly entrenched with the program, another year with the program, the sights and the expectations are probably rightfully so set quite a bit higher overall for this program. What were some of your major takeaways?
Every kid there looks physically different than what they did a year ago. And it's, in the case of VJ Payne, it's noticeable. He's got an NFL everything about him right now. He was clocked at the fastest speed on the team, and yet he has the body of an outside linebacker right now. So I'm really intrigued to see what VJ has to offer this season. Taylor Portier looks really healthy. Looks like he's ready to, dig in and play. He hasn't been the same since his knee injuries, but everyone's saying he's back. He feels confidence in his legs now. So, I mean, everyone there, you can tell a physical difference. Cody Stufflebean looked bigger, and I mean, Des Purdell has just turned into kind of a beast. So and the other thing that jumps out is we all talk about how competitive K-State is. It could be really good. 4 of the 5 dudes they took, with the exception of VJ Payne, are Kansas kids. So the program continues to be what it's been, and I think this is going to have the potential to be a really good football team.
They're one of the 5 teams picked at 6-1 to win the Big 12 right now. I would agree with that. I think they're one of the teams, but I think there are a lot of the teams. What is the biggest? I'll give you 2. You tell me what the bigger question is. We'll start with the offense. The almost totally new wide receiver room, or what we assume. I think we assume this. You'd know better than I. The 3 new potential offensive lineman starters. Are we thinking 3, maybe 2, maybe 3? Like, which of those concerns you more?
Offensive line. I mean, they've survived with so-so receiver play, but they're not going to survive with so-so offensive line play. And I don't think they'll have that. There really seemed to be no great concern about the line and talking whether on or off the record. I think they feel like they got all the answers in that room. Maybe they need to sort out who goes where fairly early in the fall, but I think they feel like they've got some really good depth. And the fact that Chris Kleiman kept bringing up John Pastore, who missed spring drills with a back injury, that he's back and feeling really strong. And they expected him to possibly start at a tackle position. So, that just adds to all the depth. But I think they're going to be fine along that offensive line. And it's hard not to be an upgrade at receiver spot, to be real blunt.
Well, it certainly seems like, with the way the running back room is setting up, Dylan Edwards is positioned to have a lot of success and be able to really run away with the offense, at least from a running game perspective. The rest of the running back room, do you anticipate, like, this is Dylan Edwards, he's going to be the bell cow for this team, or do you anticipate that there will be some more shared responsibilities there?
I do. I think we'll see more Joe Jackson than what we saw maybe Dylan Edwards last year as the backup, only because I don't think there's any way he can physically carry the load that DJ Giddens did um, because of the size. But I also think they might keep Dylan on the field with Joe and put Dylan in the slot and supplement the receivers that way. So there's a number of things they can do, and I think they feel good about even more depth at that running back spot. So I do think we'll see Joe Jackson quite a bit in the backfield because he's listed as the same size as DJ Giddens. I don't remember him quite being that physically present as DJ, but compared to Dylan, he's a beast. So it's they're going to be a nice complement with each other.
I want to look at the other side of the ball, Fitz. We talked about, the incoming starters potentially on the line. Boy, when you look at the defense, it's a lot of returners.
Yep.
And I think that could be, maybe it's being talked about a little closer to the program, but is there a team in the Big 12 set up on paper at least, or based on what we've seen? I mean, maybe Texas Tech, but is there another, like, this has a chance to be as good as any defense in the league, I would think.
I would agree. I mean, they've got two of the best linebackers in the conference, and Purnell and Austin Romaine, who might be the best middle linebacker in college football this year. Their defensive end room is absurdly deep with so much talent. It'll be fun to watch who emerges there. They've got their two nose tackles back from a year ago. They have a little bit less experience on the back end, but they've got, we saw some glimpses at the bowl game that these young guys are ready to go. So if everything comes up together on the back end of that defense, I think you're right. It could be one of the better defenses in the Big 12, if not, throughout the greater college football landscape, because I think they have some depth there too.
Well, we mentioned just a few minutes ago that there are 5 teams that have the same odds to win the Big 12 starting the season. And I think that's interesting considering that Brett Yormark at Media Days said that he is striving for the Big 12 to have multiple bids into the 12-team CFP. That seems like a nice thought. How realistic do you think that actually is?
I think it's realistic. I think last year they probably should have. But, for whatever reason, the committee went with SMU over BYU, which still seems unexplainable to me. But I think this conference was too good in the terms of being entertaining. I mean, it was every game was a toss-up, and that in some conferences that's perceived as, wow, you guys are really good, and other ones are like, wow, nobody's really good. I mean, it just depends on how you look at it, and that's kind of how a lot of the national media wanted to define the Big 12, but that's not really how it was. I mean, these teams played good football, and then we saw Arizona State should have probably beaten Texas, so none of that adds up. I think the Big 12 will do just fine, but you can't have 5 teams punching each other in the face all year long to climb on top. You need a couple of them to wrestle their way up there and stay up there.
Fitz, we've been talking Tim Fitzgerald at Life of Fitz on X, gopowercat.com, publisher. We've been talking about this conversation surrounding NCAA tournament expansion. I want to look, we all understand it's a money play. Whatever they say, it's a money play. We understand that. They need more money. Schools need more money. This is a money play. What do you think the impact of this, positively or negatively, can be? When we know it's all about the money, what are your initial thoughts on an expansion?
Well, I'm against it. I think 68 is already too many. It should be 64. I don't understand that first play-in round. I don't get it at all. They've kind of created this alter reality that you can have 2 number 11 or 12 seeds in a bracket. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I'm against it, but you're right. It's just all about money. And I also think they didn't like what Fox did with their own Vegas tournament. It watered down the NIT, which the NCAA now runs. So they're thinking, well, we'll just merge all these NIT teams into the field, all the good ones, and kind of choke them off from going to Fox. I don't know. I'm kind of annoyed by it. Out of all the stuff fans want from the NCAA, not once has a fan said, "Hey, we need more teams in the NCAA tournament." I mean, how about enforcing rules and having some better structure to the organization and get rid of some of the meaningless rules instead of just expanding the NCAA tournament?
I do think, though, we have to understand the need financially for conferences and schools. I mean, it may sound like to people that they're greedy, but they did have a lot. They have a lot more money going out than they used to.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not for it either. Don't get me wrong. I'm not for it, but I understand that it's coming, and I'm trying to understand the reason it has to come. So I do think, like, and K-State's probably a good example of this. If K-State was a team that was, let's call them the 71st team, which is kind of where they've been lately, that would, I think, for K-State fans, be more exciting, even though maybe it's slightly than an NIT bid. Wouldn't it be a little bit more enjoyable for the fans?
I guess so. I mean, you keep moving the bubble and letting in worse and worse teams. I don't think there was any point last year when fans really felt like this was an NCAA tournament team. Maybe for that 6-game winning streak in which they were so impressive, they played that way. But by the end of the year, if they'd crept into the tournament, I think most fans would be like, "Well, that's nice, but boy, they stunk. They stunk late in the year." So, yeah, I don't know. I just think at some point you're going to water it down too much. But maybe this isn't it. Maybe fans will embrace it.
Yeah, it'll be. I don't know that fans will care too much. As long as they don't mess with 64, I don't know that any of us will even know the difference. What are you guys working on at GoPowerCat.com real quick?
Well, we're still unwinding all the stuff we covered down in Frisco, and podcast goes up this morning, and it was a really eventful, helpful trip. It was really informative this year.
All the great content there. GoPowerCat.com. Follow Fitz at Life of Fitz. Thanks, buddy. Let's do it again next week. Enjoy vacation.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Here's Tim Fitzgerald. We'll come back. More Sports Daily. Don't go away.